Players have taken the floor, starting to warm up for a 9 o'clock Eastern time start. Game 1 of the 2018 finals. Hey everybody, good to have you along with us once again as we continue our NBA TV coverage of the NBA Finals. Got Hall of Famer to beat, Grant Hill right here. NBA champion, Hall of Famer Isaiah Thomas. NBA champion Kenny Smith.
When you say his name, say two-time, and when you say mine, say two-time.
Well, I'll work on that for Sunday.
Not just
I'll
one
get back
time.
to that.
There's a difference.
We don't have time to go through everyone's complete resume. I decided to
Hey,
summarize.
it's a difference. Hey, Zeke, is there a difference? No. Thank you.
I'm Matt. Good to have you along with us. There's been some debate over the last couple of days about whether a fourth straight meeting between the same two teams in the NBA Finals is a good thing for the NBA. I would guess that the ratings will tell us that it's probably a pretty good thing for the NBA, but what is the familiarity, the repetition, if you will, of this series and this matchup? How will it change the tone of the series?
Well, like you said, both teams are familiar with one another. Both teams have played each other. They know each other, at least the core guys, as you have some new faces here. But I think because of that, it'll be one of these series where it'll be about making the extra effort, the second play. I mean, they know Steph Curry, they know Kevin Durant, what they can do. They're great one-on-one players, LeBron James. But it's going to be the others who step up and have roles in this game for each team. Obviously, Golden State might be the favorite right now because of how they played, and this is probably the least talented LeBron James-led Cavs team. But I think the familiarity aspect, it kind of levels the playing field a bit, if you call it that.
Yeah, I look at, both coaching know each other. They know each other's style. They know each other's tendencies. The guys that I'm more concerned about for Cleveland, okay, what would George Hill be like? What would Clarkson be like? What would Green be like? What will they step up and do? Because to me, they're the unknown in this series because no one has seen them on the final stage before. And I think it's much more difficult to get to the finals than they actually play in the finals. And I expect that Cleveland's others, so to speak, will play better in this finals.
This is interesting to me because growing up, I played against Mark Jackson and Bishop Loughlin like 2 or 3 times to get to the city championship. We hated each other. I'm not sure if these two teams hate each other.
Yeah.
Like, because there's so many changes that are in. When you were playing against the Celtics and you were playing against the Bulls, you hated them.
Yeah.
I walk around here and I see guys still kind of high-fiving because this is the NBA, which is the 4th time. This is the most interesting thing about it for me. The 4th time you're playing a team, I would hate them by now. And I don't feel the hate in the room yet. And I'm waiting to see about Game 3 or Game 4 when the hate enters the room. That's when I'm ready for the series.
Well, there have been so many players who have come and gone from the two rosters during the 4 years. One player who will be on the floor tonight is Kevin Love. He got through concussion protocol, and he will start tonight for the Cavaliers. Golden State and their cast of stars sent home the likely league MVP James Harden in Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals back on Monday. If there were a playoff MVP so far, there is no question it would be the King.
I continue to just play at an all-time level. Standard, for the rest of the season, and hopefully I can continue it, in this finals. And also, I've been blessed to be available. That's what I take pride in more than anything, is being available to my teammates every single day.
It has been a remarkable postseason run for James, who leads all players in scoring and minutes so far. And look at these numbers. 20 games this postseason in which he's accounted for 30% of his team's points and 45% of his team's assists. That's the most in a single postseason by a whole bunch, as you can see. When you
well, as LeBron James, as he said, I'm playing at all-time high
he absolutely
in the history
is.
of the game.
He is accounted for between scoring and assisting 55 points per game for his team this season. That is the most by any player to reach the NBA Finals. What is it going to take from him? More from him or more from everybody else in the Cavs to make this a series?
As great as he's played, it also shows the inability of his teammates to kind of carry a load. The responsibility at some point against this team, Golden State, is going to have to be divvied out. And if it doesn't get divvied out, they will go home quickly. And so, and the biggest guy, I think, besides Kevin Love, is Jeff Green. He has to have 4 games within this series where he has 15 to 16 points or more. If he doesn't, they go home quickly. because there's just not enough firepower for him not to participate in this offensive set against Golden State.
You know, and I look at, you know, Nance and Clarkson. To me, they're interesting in terms of what they may be able to provide for Cleveland, because, you know, they're the unknowns in this series, and they have the athleticism, they have the youth, and they're naive, and they haven't played well. So I'm saying that they got to play much better than they've played in the last 3 series. And not only that, they're familiar with this Golden State team because they've been in the Western Conference. So they've played against these guys before. And if you remember, the Lakers did have some good games here in this arena where Clarkson played good. So I don't see a fear factor of those guys coming in. And I do think LeBron will get a lot more help than he had in
Zeke, I'm going to ask you this before Grant talk. You said no fear factor. It's different. Isaiah Thomas, Grant Hill sitting on the sideline. Lights over here, lights over there. You know, the NBA Finals is a different animal. Even practice is different.
Yeah.
So fear factor does play a part in that part.
But they got no pressure, right?
And once the game starts, it's basketball. That's the thing.
So?
I mean, I get it. I get it's pressure. But look, my thing is, look, no question the others have to step up. And step up bigger than they did against Boston for them to have a chance. But getting back to that little video highlight package, when you saw him in these playoffs, like, I played against him 5 years ago. LeBron is better than he was 5. I would say he's even better than he was 2 years ago. It's almost like Kyrie Irving left, and he knew he had to shoulder more responsibility, scoring and just leading and doing everything, and he has done that all playoffs. His shooting from long range, his mid-range game, he's more efficient from the field. I thought in the past he relied on getting to the rim and being more physical. Now the diversity in terms of how he scores is off the charts. With that said and done, as great as he is, 55 points, 65 points, he's still going to need some help from somebody else.
You know what else I think is fully on display is his leadership, which is not spoken enough about. And we watched that Celtic Game 7, and I think all of us were sitting around watching it saying, man, can somebody make a layup? Can somebody make a shot? I watched him nurse those guys back to health out of the first quarter, out of the second quarter. JR was struggling. Green was struggling. George Hill missing layups. He found a way to get their confidence back, bring them into the third quarter, go into Boston, and not only win the game, but defensively hold the Celtics to under 100 points. And I thought that was one of the best examples of leadership that I've seen in an NBA situation.
We're going to need a lot of leadership. He's going to need a lot of leadership in this series.
Oh, yes.
I think
Steve Kerr talked about it yesterday, how much his skills have grown even since those series against the Spurs when he was with Miami, and how San Antonio would go under on every screen. You can't do that anymore.
Well, you got to double
LeBron
him now.
James.
You got to double him. That's what I was thinking now, because I think
That's like saying you got to double Magic Johnson.
well, but in a way
He can beat you with the pass, though.
No,
Where he's
but I think that for me, just watching him over the years, when I've always criticized or not criticized, but was critiquing his game, I said he defers to other people. And so when he's a scorer, he's not deferring. He's going to find people no matter what. But when he's a scorer, he's not deferring. I would want to get the ball out of his hands and make him pass the ball all game. Because if I let him get 40, we're losing, because he's still going to get the 10 assists. I'd rather let him get 15 assists and 20 and 25. No question.